Today, it's Saturday morning. Let's see, July 8th, a week away from my birthday, July 17th. Skill, I am doing great. Welcome to the cafe, by the way. um, Today is our first time back in about, I would say, like a month. You know, I've been traveling. We were in Boston for a wedding, and then we were back west, and then I had to go back east for another thing. And to be honest with you, it's hard to do the show every Saturday like we used to do. Now, we are on episode 100 and let's see, 10. And as you can see, Genzo subbed for 40 months. So 40 consecutive months says a lot. We've done the show since the very early days, but right before the pandemic even started in March of 2020, we actually believe we went live a month before that. So it's been an interesting journey. I want to say hello to everyone that's in the live right now and hello to everyone that is in VOD. I'm Andy, if you don't know. You could find my socials across all the things, Twitter, Threads, which we're going to talk about, TikTok and all that. And, you know, this is CafeBTW, a gaming morning podcast where we do a little bit of a retrospective. Today is going to be a little fun and easygoing, no guest. We may have a guest next week, but today we're going to talk about the art of video game title screens. So I thought this was an interesting one because I feel like no one takes a moment. And what's up, No Fear? Good to see you, man. Talk about homies that have been around for a long time. No Fear, it's good to see you, man. That said, video game title screens I feel like are underappreciated in a sense that no one really talks about it as much as I think we should. I mean, I see tweets out there and stuff like that, but today's episode is really just going to be a simple episode of pulling up some of the most notable video game title screens and how important it is for the title screen to really introduce you to the game before it starts. So I feel like this is going to be a fun, easy episode. But before we get into all that, and Skill says some title screens are amazing depending on how the design is for them. And you know what, Skill? The other side of that is some of them are terrible. We won't go too much into the terrible side, but we will focus a lot on just title screens and what they mean to us as gamers and dig into a little bit of the art and kind of break down. But before we get into all that, I got to air my dirty laundry. A lot of you know that I've been doing this podcast for a long time, but one thing you might not know is that I have a YouTube channel, and if you go to the top of my YouTube channel, there's all the episodes. I think it's about 50 episodes in catalog. I don't have all of them up there, but obviously the newest episode is available right at the top. Also, if you're interested, I have some long-form docu-style content that I made. I have my shorts, but really it's for, you know, if you miss the podcast live, this is where you capture all the stuff. And I'm not that type of podcast that's like throws my audio all over the place. This podcast is simple. You either catch it live on Twitch or you can watch the VOD on YouTube, and that's it. That's really it, because this show is about visual. You know, it's not just about hearing me. It's really about being part of it and seeing the visuals that I pull up so that we can really interact with the topic. Skill says, I personally enjoy the simplicity of Skyrim's title screen. We will talk about Skyrim, actually. Obviously, on Twitter, you might know I run the retro gaming community. And if you go to my Twitter, on the top is a pinned tweet, and you could join. And we have over 20.3 thousand 2,300 members. Well, I can't read. And it's been really cool. And you know what's been probably the coolest part is that there's been no trolls. It's been very clean and beautiful, and people sharing their pickups, and it's really a safe place for you. So this month we're doing the vote for what our giveaway is, and we do a giveaway game every month, a retro video game giveaway. This month it looks like the NES is killing it on the votes, so it looks like we might be giving an NES game away. With Atari 2600 having 15%, the Game Gear 20%, and the Genesis at 20%. So I guess it looks like the NES is going to be there. Is there a link so I can get in faster? Sure. I will. If you have Twitter, I will send you the pinned tweet here, and you could just join right there, Skill. Appreciate it. And also my YouTube channel. Genzo, could you just share my YouTube channel just so I could focus on continuing to talk about things that we're doing? Now, one thing I want to talk about besides, what we're doing on Twitter, is that I was the guest on a podcast called, um, I was a guest on the on the Screen Smash. Sorry, oh my god, I can't talk this morning. On the Screen Smash podcast, I was a guest, and I had a great time with these guys. We talked about pretty much retro gaming retrospective. They don't always talk about retro gaming. It's mostly a modern podcast. You could check out the full episode here, but I thought I'd show a clip. I really had a great time, and we talked just about the love of retro gaming, and they brought me in to kind of represent like retro gaming culture and all that. So please check out the podcast. I'm going to show you a real short clip, which was actually about Destiny, but let's play it here.
There was a way to flip a switch and get the original version of Destiny with Peter Dinklage.
Ooh,
I want to play that Destiny.
Yeah. Example.
I want to play that Destiny again.
I mean, when we were doing our Destiny podcast, we were quoting the crap out of Peter Dinklage every episode. We had sound bites. We had it all because Vanilla Destiny was phenomenal game.
Like, nothing against Nolan North and his version of Ghost, but God, I love Peter Dinklage.
I bought the legendary edition and it's got the little Dinklebot that actually like talks in his voice. So I'm like, man, like that's crazy.
When he was doing the voice, people made fun of him a lot, and then when he was gone, everyone missed him.
Hey up, Guardian.
So we were just talking about Vanilla Destiny. Actually, the clip they picked was not retro gaming related, but really had a great time. And I want to shout out Couch Soup. If you don't know Couch Soup, they have a ton of different type of content, whether it's movies, reviews, stuff like that. Screen Smash is one of their podcasts. Really awesome that they invited me, and of course, wanted to shout them out. That said, I also want to talk about something about this podcast. We've been doing it for so long, and because I've been doing it so long, and life is just, I'm turning the corner on 42 years old. Can you believe it? I'm going to be 42 years old next week. And life is throwing a lot of wrenches at me, and it's hard to do this show, but I can't let it end. And I've been honestly thinking about, should I stop doing the CafeBTW podcast? Should I continue doing the podcast? And absolutely do not, no fear, that is right. The show must go on. I am not going anywhere, but what I will say is that the podcast will probably be bi-weekly and at most about 2 episodes a month. Because no fear, that's all I can give with the time I have as I get older. It's getting harder and harder with jobs and blah, blah, blah. But, the show must go on. And CafeBTW is not going anywhere. But we will expect to do about 2 episodes a month. Bi-weekly, I'm thinking the first weekend of the month and the last weekend of the month. Obviously, this is kind of like the first weekend of the month, I think. But that said, I really appreciate everyone, not only on the lives that have supported me through this process. I hope that you enjoy the style of show I do. I tried to do something a little bit different, and I do miss having guests on, and I just haven't committed to any guests because I haven't had time in the last couple of months to commit to guests. So have to be transparent with you all that it's been hard to do my show. No Fear says, time for a co-host to pick up the other 2 episodes. I nominate Chicken. It's okay, No Fear. I think it's okay to make this a bi-weekly show. I think it's fine. I really haven't been doing it every Saturday for a long time. But there was a time we did it every Saturday, and that was kind of like in the height of the pandemic. I was trapped at home. I couldn't go anywhere, so it really was easier. But now with life picking back up, weekends, but we will not go anywhere. The show must go on. So don't worry, CafeBTW is still here, and we're not going anywhere. Now, as you know, with the show, I like to talk about current events before we get into the topic at hand. Obviously, something that just like blew up. And actually, I posted my first podcast link to the show on Threads. So out of nowhere, Elon Musk has completely destroyed Twitter. I love Twitter. Okay, the retro gaming community on Twitter is amazing. It's one of the best communities for retro gaming. It's where I started posting retro gaming content, was on Twitter. So Elon swoops in, buys this app. Did he need to buy the app? Probably not. Is he doing stupid things to the app? Absolutely. But out of nowhere, just a few days ago, Mark Zuckerberg says, okay, here's Meta's version of Twitter, and it's called Threads. And here's the thing that's really cool about Threads. there's no advertising right now. So right now, it's like the infancy of this app. Will there be advertising? Maybe, but I find it really fun because the IG retro community is a community that not a lot of them are on Twitter. Obviously, there are people that are on Twitter. So I've been enjoying seeing some retro gaming people that maybe I don't always see in my Twitter content. So I'm starting to bring over to Threads the style of content I do on Twitter, and it's been cool. I'm not going to lie. Kind of like Threads, but I still love Twitter. But look, that's a whole nother episode. But I do want to mention that I think Threads and this whole thing with Twitter and Threads is really interesting. It's worth keeping on top of. But if you're looking for another place to start fresh, to do retro content, consider Threads because it's brand new. And I feel like this is the start of building a retro community on Threads. But you'll be surprised. There's already a pretty big community there. But aside from that, I'm not going to get into like the politics of this and whatever, and Elon being nuts and, whatever. He's a kid. He's $1 billion kid with his toy, and if I owned Twitter, man, I would do some amazing things. I promise. No Fear says Musk went from the man with the Midas touch to the Grim Reaper of business. Just think, we now think Zuck isn't that terrible now. It's true. I mean, I got to give Zuckerberg credit for swooping in, creating an app that is making people a little bit more happy with all the BS that Elon is doing. Elon has no right to be as heavily involved in Twitter. Twitter is like one of my favorite places to be. And I think I love the retro gaming. That's where my community is. But I'm going to use Threads. I'm going to try to post a lot of try not to post the same stuff I'm doing on Twitter on Threads, but we'll see, how that goes. But I guess we'll see what happens with this stuff. I mean, honestly, I don't know. It's like the only other problem with this is that there's another app I got to worry about, another app I got to post to. Like, when is it ever going to end? Like, what's next, Remember when it was just Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook? Now it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Well, YouTube's always been around, but I don't consider that a quick social media kind of platform like you can be on Facebook or Twitter and Instagram. But there's only so much I can handle. As a content creator, I get overwhelmed. And now that there's another app, regardless if it's good or not, I mean, I'm like, how can I keep up with this anymore? I'm almost 42. Soon I'm going to be 70. And what am I going to be doing? Like jumping around apps all day? Because that's what I feel like I do anyway. But that said, let's not give them their due. Let's get into the topic. Let's talk about title screens. And I do want to say that a lot of people call them different things like the home screen, the boot screen, the loading screen, the splash screen, the start screen, the title screen. We're going to go with the title screen. I used to say the start screen, but sometimes the title screens don't have a start button, right? So what is a title screen? So according to Giant Bomb, on their site, I was looking for like a clear definition, but they had a nice one. So a title screen is a game usually is what gives you the game's title and sometimes some menu options. Most games have a title screen, but lots of older games such as Asteroids don't. Even TV shows have them, which is true. Your standard title screen is basic. It has no special attributes to it. It doesn't try to make it seem like more than it is. It is simple, gives you the name of the game and what you're about to play, and then press start. Or in the case of arcades, it waits for you to insert credits, which is a great note. The start screen in arcade is insert credits or insert token. It may or may not be press start or insert credits on the screen. Sometimes game developers go sleeker with titles only look, which still counts in a lot of ways. But, that is essentially what a title screen is. And I think that a lot of us appreciate it, but at times we bypass it and don't really give due to what a title screen is and how it affects us before we play the game. So that's very, very important. We can go into a bunch of things and games. I have a whole list of games that we're going to kind of look at their title screens, kind of appreciate them and take it from there. So, humble beginnings, obviously like E.T. in 1982 had a very early title screen. We'll get into Super Metroid in these, but the title screen has to have art, right? You have to have art when you have a title screen. Like that's probably the main focus. Now, here's a beautiful landscape photo of a bunch of title screens, and some of them are iconic. You know, you have like Altered Beast here, Comic Zone, Columns, Echo the Dolphin, Echo Jr., Golden Axe, Gunstar Heroes, Outrun, and a lot of them, like this Shining Force one, doesn't really. It's got a cool text, but like there's some of them are just beautiful, like Echo Jr., Revenge of Shinobi has a cool one. Obviously, Sonic, which we'll get into, has a cool one. These and like Golden Axe here, not very impressive, but you can really get a sense for the quality of art. They really take the time to put in this. The Tome Gem and Earl one is cute with the kind of art piece there. And you know, it's just really cool to take like a step back and appreciate these things, because title screens, I don't feel like people talk about them enough. So also, Destructoid had a great article about how welcome or title screens, you know, tell their own story, which is very true. So let's start telling a story. Let's go through. I pulled a bunch of title screens, and let's go through one by one and take a look at them and see like how can we really appreciate these things and really take a moment to really take a look back. Now, one obviously that you have to pull up that's iconic is obviously the start screen for Super Mario Brothers. Now, with it playing, the only movement that you see is this little coin until Mario starts to move and you start to play, which I think is cool. So the title screen is literally built into the first level. Like literally when you are ready to hit player 1, Mario just starts, you know, he'll start running. I'm pretty sure. Or am I just crazy to think that? By the way, this Goomba is like the evilest Goomba. You know how many times people have died on that Goomba? But this is really cool. It's more seamlessly connected into it. So Mario Brothers obviously is iconic. I do like the art, and keep in mind this is like 1985. The art's beautiful. It really sets the tone for what you're about to do with Mario right here, ready to roll. Original Metroid, which has really nice kind of like, if you can hear it, very simple. Very simple, but iconic. Not much to it, though, really. Although you know what you're getting into. You know that you're getting into space and that this is something big. Probably one of the most famous title screens of all time is Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Let's watch this. Look at that. Setting the tone right away. Just sucks you in, man. Beautiful. Just on one of the probably one of the best title screens I've ever seen. Davey, what's up? Finer Things. All right. The legend is welcome to the cafe, man. We're talking about the art and history and love of title screens, which I don't think people talk about enough. Now we can listen to the music, and this just sets the tone. You could leave this on in the background like a screensaver. Beautiful design. You know exactly what you're about to get into. First of all, they show you Link on a horse, so you're immediately like, holy crap, this is going to be cool. But it scans the landscape of the game, gives you a good sense of what you're about to get into. Let's start it up front again. Just beautiful design. Just wonderful, wonderful example of a true artistic title screen that really pulls you in and gets you excited about what you're about to do. And then when that press start comes up, you know, you don't imagine this is the first time you ever saw this. This is setting you up for what you're going to be expecting, which is amazing gameplay, one of the greatest games ever made. And they even took the time to focus on how special the title screen is. So can't talk about the love and art of title screens without truly talking about The Legend of Zelda. No worries, Davey. I mean, what's great about my show is if you make it to the live, awesome. If you miss it, we have the VOD on YouTube. But obviously, if you're here for the live, it's always fun to hang out with me. I appreciate it too. All right, so obviously this one is king, you know. But let's get into another one. This is Final Fantasy VII's title screen. Let's let it do its thing. I want to skip a little bit. So they do a little bit of credit rolls here. Where's the start screen? Oh my god. There it is. So simple, simplistic. I like it. It's not as intensive as Ocarina of Time, but there's something really nice about the logo. I mean, the Final Fantasy VII logo is really, really, in a lot of ways, simple but beautiful. But that's it. That's all you get. And I'm okay with this. I'm okay that they didn't go too far with this. I think that obviously Final Fantasy VII is like considered like the greatest game of all time. Everyone loves it. You know, we could talk a whole episode about this, but want to appreciate that even though there's not much going on here, it's still pretty cool to see the logo. There's no doubt about it. So that's Final Fantasy, moving right along. Metroid Prime start screen. Really cool. Look at that. So with the Metroid Prime, again, a good example of giving you a little sense of this kind of Metroid-y, scientific, futuristic, microorganism style background or futuristic background. It really sets the tone for what you know of Metroid. And I feel like this is a good example of just a fantastic start screen with a really, really kind of neat background. And the music kind of sets the tone as well. So can't talk about these without bringing up that. BioShock, I think this is the remaster though, but what I like about the BioShock title screen is it gives you kind of like a sense of the area you're in, what you're about to get into. The plane in the water is super cool. There's a little bit of mist floating. You could see this little detail of the light from the plane blinking, you know, and I think that what's great about this episode is that we could really dissect these title screens. But BioShock, obviously one of the most graphically beautiful games of its day, really fantastic title screen. Just the subtle details of the water and the plane splashing out, the beautiful like sort of lighthouse, and just the detail, and even the detail in the actual title, BioShock, really detailed, really beautiful, and you know, honestly, one of my favorite title screens. I mean, look at that, really gives you that mystery of what you're about to get into. The original Red Dead Redemption is a beautiful title screen. Let's watch. Hear the music. You hear it's pulling. So again, talking about title screens and how it kind of immerses you into what you're going to be getting into. Red Dead Redemption, it sounds like we're in the forest. You have a glimpse of the environment in front of you. Very simple kind of split screen. Beautiful text. I love the Red Dead Redemption text. It's wonderful, and you could hear that you're outside, and you know that you're about to go on some sort of adventure in the woods. So that's a great one. Let's keep going. I got a lot of them. One of my favorites, which is very simple, is The Last of Us, which just gives you kind of, let's play the music, a little bit of a guitar riff, very subtle, soothing. But what's interesting is if this is your first time playing Last of Us, you could tell that you're looking out the window of an unkept home. So there's potential here that you could see very small glimpses of a home that's been not filled with joy and love because there's been the walls deteriorating. There's plants coming through the window that's broken. So if you really dissect this, you can realize that they're in an environment where maybe humans haven't been in this house for a very long time, which sets up that we're in this post-apocalyptic world where potentially humans are not upkeeping things the way they used to. And it really goes to show you how simplistic the sunlight and looking out the window, and Last of Us does a lot of this. But I think that this is one of the most unique and beautiful, subtle ways to introduce a game before you really get into it. But if you really pay attention, you could see the wood is breaking, is kind of rusted up here. Obviously the window and the plant coming in, and then you could see here the walls. But at a first glance, you really don't take a moment to appreciate what's going on. And there's a knife here. I don't know if you guys have seen that there was a knife here. And then the window is a little bit open. But you could tell that someone was here and someone left it like this. Or interesting that I didn't really notice the knife until I really pulled this up. So that's interesting. Anyway, Last of Us, really, really, really one of my favorite title screens ever. One that I think doesn't get appreciated enough. And if you've never played this game, I recommend it. This is the Journey title screen for PS3. Let's watch. Beautiful. Again, another example. And I don't think people take time to appreciate how these things set everything up. Hey, what's up, dude? We're talking about video game title screens. So Last of Us is part of it. So today's episode is about the art of video game title screens. So Last of Us was the one we just spoke about. So this is Journey, which is a really fantastic game. So let's take a moment to appreciate the title screen. So obviously what you're getting a glimpse of is something here that I don't exactly know what it is, but you see that you're in a desert-like setting, beautiful. And what this tells me is like we're about to experience some beautiful art, sound, and you can hear the subtle sound in the background. Hey, what's up, Phantom Cat? So Journey, and very simple. I love these simple title screens that are less about a title and more about the environment. And then at the bottom left here, all you see is start a new journey. Very simple, simplistic, beautiful art. And the Journey title screen is very similar to the Last of Us title screen, where there's not like a title that hits you in the middle, but it gives you the environment you're about to enter. So one game, and this is the one for the PS3. Moving right along to another one I pulled up. This is, it's not a start screen, but I want to say that the loading screen for Grand Theft Auto 5 is very much, in my eyes, their title screen. It gets you set up for what you're about to experience. Obviously, Grand Theft Auto does a really great job with their sort of character silhouettes and their beautiful art style that has kind of been synonymous with Grand Theft Auto. Also, the text style for Grand Theft Auto, synonymous. But even though this isn't technically a start screen, I want to say it is, because what happens with Grand Theft Auto 5 is you load right in. But as you're loading in, you're seeing potential different, almost title screens, giving you this really interesting kind of, if this was the first time you played Grand Theft Auto 5, this was really getting you pumped up because you were starting to see these characters that you were about to embark on. And in a game that's been out since 2013, by the way, that people are still playing. This is beautiful. And then obviously it dumps you right into the game. But I want to say that the loading screen for Grand Theft Auto 5 is their title screen. Video Game Restoration says, I wish you can make these a desktop image. I mean, you probably could just copy the the image, and then, So going into another direction where there's a landscape with the title. So God of War, this is God of War 2018. Beautiful tone and environment here. It really gives you an idea of what you're about to experience. And if you notice, look who's over here. You got the woods, but in this case, not like Last of Us and Journey, you have the title right in the middle. But behind it is you have the beautiful environment. Where, by the way, this game is beautiful. And it really sets a tone for what you're about to experience or the type of environment. And again, this is another great example of a title screen setting you up for the tone and the environment you're about to embark on. And I think that the background here is beautiful. You can see that there's like a little bit of like whatever wind blowing. There's, I think, from a fire is happening somewhere over here. He's just chilling. The beautiful leaves, the detail on the trees. Just a wonderful example right here of a title screen, a beautiful modern title screen too. This is Skyrim, which, you know, not as, you know, probably a little more on the boring side, to be honest with you. But I do like the logo, and, you know, it's pretty much no thrills. Like, hey, here's a little bit of, well, maybe we got the music here. Very, let's try it again. So, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this one, but, you know, we got to talk about it. Now, this is, I believe, the HD remaster, but Xenoblade has one of the coolest, most beautiful. Another example of the title screen style that like Last of Us and Journey used, where there's no big title in the middle, but there's a big landscape, and the start screen is on the bottom or the right. So let's take a beautiful look at the Xenoblade and play the music too. And don't forget, we didn't mention, music is vital for title screens. It's super important to pulling you into the art that you're seeing. But look at this beautiful, you got that cool Xenoblade sword in the middle. You got this beautiful sky, the beautiful landscape, and the way the grass is moving in the wind. It gives me goosebumps, right? It just really sets the tone. And again, another example of setting the tone. If you're a video game developer, I think it's worth every penny putting as much as you can into the title screen, because you are about to give this person their best experience in games. And I think that Xenoblade is just like one of the greatest title screens ever made. Beautiful. And the music, listen to that. Beautiful. Unbelievably beautiful. And on a lot of the lists that you find on the internet, like, what are the top 25 start screens or of all time? Xenoblade is on every single one of those. Beautiful. Just beautiful. All right, moving right along. We got a few more to look at here. One that I don't think people talk about enough and is awesome is Brutal Legend. Let's watch.
Okay. Don't say a word.
It starts
Just
with our
keep
boy.
walking, real casual, okay? Let's do this. I'll show it to you, but you can't tell anybody else where it is, okay? Deal. They keep as far as
let's hold on. Here we go. Jack finds the record.
it's not just gonna blow your mind.
Wow, he looks so much younger there.
It's gonna blow your soul.
Let's watch this
Go
title
ahead.
screen.
Open it.
Look at this.
If you dare.
So awesome. So this title screen sets up with Jack Black going into a record store and pulling the Brutal Legend record and then putting it on a table and then integrating that into the title screen. And what's really cool is that this is a photo of a record with the Brutal Legend logo with a beautiful wooden table. You know exactly what you're about to get into. Jack Black's hands are there. This is really cool and unique. Did you see that? He gave his little have you paid attention? Like, I feel like people don't pay attention to how cool this title screen is. Jack Black's telling you to hit start. It's really intuitive, really awesome. I love it. And you can see him getting almost like he's getting you ready for the music. And you know for sure, because Brutal Legend title screen is a record, that you know that this is going to be a musically involved game. And I actually love Brutal Legend. I think it's a fun game. But really, I don't think anyone talks about the title screen. Another really interesting title screen that's very similar to The Last of Us, Xenoblade, and you're starting to see a trend here. You either have the title screen with the title in the middle, or you have a beautiful landscape with the start screen on the left or the right. But Alien Isolation, very, very subtle, but beautiful title screen. You could see the spaceship here in the background, the beautiful planet, and it just kind of gives you this musical tone, little horror sci-fi action going on, you know, getting you ready to experience this environment. Aliens, you know, is a huge franchise. If you've seen the movies, you kind of know what to expect, but this really gets it going. You could hear the sound of, I mean, there's no sound in space, but you know what I mean. Definitely worth talking about that. All right, moving right along. One that's very simple but super awesome is Wii Sports. Let's play it. Could jam to this all day long. Oh, hold on. I realized it was just the it was, well, anyway, I thought I had the title screen pulled up, but here we go. Here it is. Beautiful song. We can. Let's pull it up for you, buddy. Let's take a look. Twilight Princess. That's why we do a live podcast. So just like Ocarina of Time, setting you up with Link on a horse. I'll let it talk for itself. Good call. Let's skip to the good part. Here we go. Where's the title screen? It was more of an opening, not a title screen. You know what I mean? Although beautiful. Oh, here we go. There it is. Well, this is the HD one, but beautiful. Yeah, I saw it. There it is. Here we go. This is the HD one, but still, wow. So again, you know what you're about to get into. I mean, everyone kind of knows what you're about to get into with a Zelda game, but this gives you like a really good tone of the game. I also really like Twilight Princess, but wow, good call, video game restoration, awesome intro too. Here's another one. This is God of War from the PS3, and I think it's really neat. Let me play some music. I mean, you know what you're getting into with God of War. So, like, obviously they set the tone with the title screen. The newer God of War in 2018, their title screen was a little bit more just about the beauty of the landscape. This one's like, you're going to hell and you're going to fight gods and monsters and get ready. So this one definitely gives you that sense of like, get ready to fight gods and be in the depths of hell or whatever it might be. A few other fun ones is Surgeon Simulator, which is just a good example of exactly what you're going to get into in this game. So I think it's really cool. The reason I pulled this up is I want to pay attention to the little nuances and details. So this looks like a doctor's desk. Obviously, he's got his pad. He's got some drugs kind of open here. He's got his notepad where he takes down all of his medical stuff. He's got to remember to call Trisha. He's got his mouse, his bite. You can see some cassette discs there. So obviously, this is kind of like setting you up for, hey, you're a doctor. You're about to do some surgery. And by the way, this game is pretty fun. Civilization, this is from the 2000 Sid Meier's Civilization. Beautiful. Let's play some music. I love how this is simple. Like, you know what you're getting into with Civilization. It's about... Oh, the music is very, like, Lion King. But again, just giving you the tie of the screen and the music matching and really helping bring out just how cool it is. Civilization, I love this. This is a great one. All right, moving right along. We got a few more here. Obviously, we can't talk about title screens without talking about this one.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
So nothing's like crazy here, but the welcome to Mario Kart sound and just the music just gets you ready for racing. Let's hear it again. One more time.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
Welcome to Mario Kart. So obviously, you know, nothing. I mean, you got Mario, you got Wario, you got Bowser waving to us, you got Peach in the background and Toad, but that's it. Those are the. Where's Luigi? No Luigi on the cover, huh? But anyway, I love Mario Kart 64. By the way, love it. Okay, so obviously, here's one I love talking about. Here we go. You guys know this. Very unique. I'm about to show you something very unique. Okay, so the Sonic title screen is amazing, iconic. But did you know that one thing I always found really intriguing about this is that Sonic doesn't wait for us. I mean, sorry, he's late. He's late to his own title screen, and that just speaks volumes of Sonic. Like, he makes us wait for him. If you notice here, where is he? He's late. He's not on the title screen when he's supposed to be. So I find it really, really unique and funny that Sonic's like, you guys wait for me, I'll show up. And then he finally shows up. There he is. He's like, I'm late, I'm sorry. But I don't think people appreciate that it really starts without him. And we're waiting for him, and there he is. It's really cool. Hey, Bo-Katow. And Manny, what's up, Manny? Good to see you. Theme of my childhood right there. Absolutely. But you can't talk about title screens without that. All right, a few more here. This is, of course, one of probably the most iconic ones, and really love the opening here. Let's play the music. You guys know this one. Let's listen to it together. Slowly building up, getting you ready. What's gonna happen? Here we go, starts to pick up. One of my favorite start screens of all time. And there he is. Oh man, that's so good. And I love how Mega Man doesn't have his helmet on, which is also really cool. But I mean, this music just gets you. If you played Mega Man 1, you know what you're about to get into, and you are stoked and ready to roll. So this music just hypes me up. Awesome. Awesome. The build up to this start screen, so good. All right, a few more here. This is Pokemon Silver intro. Cute. Obviously, setting the tone for a Pokemon game. And here's the start screen. Really good. Really, really cool. The silver version Pokemon title screen is great. I mean, we all know what Pokemon games are, so you know what you're getting into. So they don't have to go too crazy on their title screens. But Manny says Sonic has always had the cool attitude, unlike those goody two-shoe plumbers. Sonic has always been cool. I mean, it's really the reason Sega brought Sonic into the fold is to be cooler than the Mario Brothers, you know? Although they're pretty cool too. Obviously, one of my favorite start screens from the Xbox era And the music, here we go. Ready? So I remember when this first came out, and sometimes I would just leave the start screen with the beautiful music sound, like the humming Halo music, you know? But look at the design, the quality of what you're about to get into. You're like, damn, we are in space. There's some cool Halo Earth thing around a planet. You know exactly that you're about to get into something cool. So they really, if you take a look at the background here, the music, the background, they slam you with the logo. Exactly. You could just leave this playing. And here's the drum. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. What do you want to do? Campaign, multiplayer? Let's let it play out. It builds up, gets you excited about the game. Yeah. All right, enough of Halo, but yeah, gotta appreciate Halo, right? Yoshi Island's a fun one. I think it does a little intro here, and then it goes into the spinning world with the sound of the water, setting up exactly what you're going to be experiencing, and the beautiful art design. Just make sure you don't have to listen to the baby crying, because that is probably the most annoying thing in this game, but it's a great game. Obviously, Super Mario 64 has a very unique start screen.
Mario! Hello!
So, I mean, you can't get more iconic than this start screen. I remember being blown away with the way you were able to manipulate Mario's face, how he interacted with you. This is a very interactive start screen, which we didn't talk about. Like, there's not a lot of start screens that are interactive. This is interactive. And it just really, I remember the first time I booted this thing up, to see Mario's face like this in 3D just like blew my mind. And then it actually does go into some screens on the start screen, so you could see gameplay as well. What a fantastic game, huh? One of the greatest games ever made. Well, we already did Xenoblade. Here's Chrono Trigger. Beautiful. Simple, kind of like Final Fantasy VII. Again, Square kind of sticking to that style where obviously the music sounds good. There's not a background, but it's just the text. But man, the text is so nice. And just that Chrono Trigger logo just coming out on me. Love it. All right, a couple more here before... Dragon Age Inquisition is a beautiful start screen. Look at this. I love this one because, again, it's more about the background and the environment you're about to get into, but the soldiers walking with like the mages on the left, really cool. Like, I mean, I don't think a lot of people appreciate this one, but I sure as hell am showing you, so we can appreciate it. But yeah, this is kind of one you could just leave on in the background too. Manny says, I used to leave the menu screen on just to relax to the music. God bless you, BioWare. All right, the last one I'm going to show, I'm sure there's a million other ones, but one that I think doesn't get enough mentioned is the Detroit Being Human start screen, which is really the menu, but you just see the character just kind of chilling there looking at you. And I love this game. This is one of my favorite story choose your own adventure kind of games. Like Detroit Being Human, if you haven't played this game, I cannot recommend it. I cannot recommend it enough. It's one of my favorite games. Honestly, seriously. I could put this in my top 20 of games of all time. No doubt about it. But look how beautiful and subtle the opening is. You got the character in the background. I think if you're the male character, then it's the male character as well. Very subtle. And then finally, I asked everyone on the internet. I said, what's your favorite video game title screen? So let's go. We didn't talk about Zelda, but here it is. Thunder Force, The Legend of Zelda: A Link in the Past, beautiful. Tecmo Super Bowl, Power Rangers. I love people are showing pictures. I thought Echo the Dolphin was going to be good, but I didn't like it. Not my type of game. The first Sonic was my favorite. 2nd and 3 were fun as well, but the one was my favorite was Sonic. Zelda 2 only because it takes me back to Christmas morning. I woke up at about 3 a.m. and my mom let me open one gift early. I opened Zelda 2 and played it until everyone woke up. And you could see here how start screens really affect people. My name is Luke says, DuckTales 2 is one of my favorite games. Maybe there's a lot better title screens, but I chose that one. Jack Cool says, X-Men the Arcade, Shinobi 3, Fist of the North Star, and Arcade Shadow Dancer are some of my favorites. Golden Axe, Mother 2, Rystar, Mega Man 2, which we talked about. Oh, Sean shared that one. Super Metroid, Revenge of Shinobi, Streets of Rage. That's a great one. Batman, Sonic, which we talked about. Obviously, Chrono Trigger. That's awesome. I mean, there's a million of them, right? There's a million of them. But hopefully what this podcast episode did for you, and I hope it helped, is kind of remind you how important these start screens are. To tell you, hey, I forgot how important the start screen is. And it's the first thing you see before you start playing, right? It's the first thing you see. So when developers are making these, they want to make them stand out. And I like the ones that are a little bit more involved than the standard ones, right? I really, really love title screens. And I think that not enough people talk about them. So I hope that this episode kind of opened up that door to you to think about, hey, maybe going forward as new games come out, I start to appreciate the start screen a little bit more. You know, you're going to get into playing it, but take that moment, just like Halo or The Last of Us, and let that title screen play with the music just a little longer than you normally do, right? Let it soak you in, appreciate it, and then play. And then as you play the game every day and you start to get familiar with it, you could skip through the start screen, obviously. You don't need it. But I think that these are parts of video games ecosystem that are ill appreciated. Yet you could tell by what people are doing and how involved they are and how much focus they put into it that we've been given some beautiful title screens over the years. Well, folks, that's all I got on title screens. I'm sure we can go down a gambit of more, but I wanted to kind of highlight the love and appreciation and the art of video game title screens, or as many people call them, either home screens, boot screens, loading screens, splash screens, start screens. We're calling it title screens just because I think it's a little bit more easier to explain what a title screen is when you call it a title screen. I like to call it a start screen too, but if the start button's not there, then is it a start screen? I really think they're all related. If you like the show and you want to see some past episodes, CafeBTW is on my YouTube. All the past episodes are on top. You could check out what we talked about last time. We spoke about the early history of the 90s PC era. We are going to have some guests, but I did want to say, and I want to reiterate, I can't do this show every Saturday morning like I used to, but the show must go on, and we are not going anywhere. But the show is going to be a bi-weekly show where we do our show the first Saturday of every month and the last Saturday of every month. So it's going to be 2 episodes a month because life is just, taking up a lot of my time as I get older. My birthday's next week. I'm turning 42. I can't even believe it. I'm turning 42, everyone. I don't even know what to say. But again, all my socials are below. Let me get some music up here before we go. And I want to say that I really appreciate everyone. This podcast, the podcast keeps me sane, creative, happy. And being able to experience it with you all it makes me happy. And thanks for the kind words. I do not look 22, Manny. Get the hell out of here, buddy. I love you though. But really means a lot, everyone. I can't be here every Saturday, but I love doing this show. And remember, I always say this. We only get one shot at life. So you know what? You might as well be nice to people. I'm Andy. We'll see you next time on CafeBTW, a gaming morning podcast. Take care, everyone.